and we are going to be running a Gigantha deck. Because with Yorion being banned in Modern, I believe that they're going to try and ban everything, so I'm just going to prove that my boy is still strong. And how are we going to do that? Well, the gimmick of this deck is we're going to do something unique here. We're going to start by looking at the sideboard, because we are saying the biggest complaint people have said is that companions are so powerful because you can just pull them out of your sideboard and they can answer stuff. So with that in mind, I've gone with screw sideboarding. So for what this is, this is a learn deck. So every card in our sideboard is our companion and then our learn cards. So we have Environmental Science to tutor basic lands. We have Teaching of the Chaos to catch us up if we're down. We have Containment and Breach to kill enchantments. Pest Summoning to put some chumpers against aggro. Introduction to Annihilation to answer any permanent. Mascot Exhibition as a big talent finisher. Then we also have Academic Probation, which is a good way to turn off a blocker if we need to push through lethal. Mercurial Transformation. Great thing you can do with this, a lot of people don't see, is that you can turn any non-land permanent into a creature and use creature-based removal on it. So I have used this to turn Liliana into a free and then Tyrant Scorned her to destroy her. Second, Environmental Sciences, because we should always have two. Reduce to Memory, which is basically a Beast Within. Basic Conjuration, which is a terrible dig to find a creature spell. Desperation one here. Introduction to Prophecy if we're struggling just to get some scry going. Illuminate History, which is Wheel Effect, make a token, and finally Confront the Past, which is basically Planeswalker Destruction and Planeswalker Reanimation. So how are we going to pull these cards out of our sideboard? We're running 8 learn cards. Well, 7, sorry. We're running our standard Cram Session, free of, and we're running 4 of Eye Twitch. If you know this from Strixhaven Limited, it's basically 1/1 for black for the flies. When it dies, we learn. So, aside from that, new things in this deck, we're running off Widespread Thievery, 4 of to dig down, find things, make treasure when we cast spells. Then we'll go through everything in order. So, we have 2 vetoes. We're playing them in the main board because obviously we're not sideboarding, so we need answers to non-creature spells. 3 Vanishing Verse for removal. 2 Tyrant Scorns for creatures. We've got our learn cards. Growth Spiral because it's an amazing card. Single Colossus for destruction and graveyard hate and life gain. 2 Obnixilis the Adversary. So, Casualty X is basically we sack a creature, make a copy of Obnixilis. On a perfect curve, we can Eye Twitch, then do a 2-drop to answer their threat, then Obnixilis, sack Eye Twitch, get 2 Obnixilises and learn, which is a very good sequence. +1, each opponent loses 2 life unless they discard a card. If you control a demon or devil, you gain 2 life, and -2, make a 1/1 red devil. When it dies, you deal damage to an opponent. Any target, sorry. And -7, target player draws 7 cards and loses 7 life. Pretty decent. Prismari Command, Artifact Destruction, Looting, Shock, and Ramp. What's not to love about all that? We have 1 Edgar, because I'm falling in love with this man. This vampire noble, my opponent. 2 Solar Blazes for board wipes, 4 Nibs to dig, and 2 Flowers and Flourish because I'm still struggling to find good Selesnya cards on this client. Aside from that, this is our mana base. We're running a lot of Triomes, 4 Fabled, 1 of each basic, a couple of check lands, well mostly check lands and all Triomes. I'm trying it without shocks to see how that runs because this deck gains a lot of life. So for those who don't know, Cram Session gains you 4 life, Obnixilis can gain you life, Clothis gains you life, and a good chunk of these things, Environmental Studies, Pest Summoning, Basic Conjuration, a lot of these spells incidentally gain life, so we're trying to keep our life totals high. We'll go into a couple of games and see how the deck performs. Alright, we got game 1 here, playing these back at ×2 speed. which will highlight how incredibly slow I am at playing this game. We keep a solid 7. Opponent starts off with a duress, and in complete disrespect, I believe takes the Nicholas. Yep. We drop our Triome, drop Growth Spiral. They drop Waste Knot, so they are a discard deck, so we need to keep our hand total high here. We don't have green, which is a bit awkward, so on 3 we'll drop the Widespread Thievery. Mono Black struggles with this enchantments in general. However, being afraid of a potential Invoke Despair, I put the Eye Twitch under it. And, you know, we're here to learn. We get Fable Passage, crack it. Grabbing our Forest, I believe. We grab the Forest. Drop a Clothis. We now have a great synergy going, and we get a treasure, and our opponent passes. They've missed 2 land drops here, so I think they're just hoping for the 3rd. They clearly didn't find it. Sideboards. Well, no sideboards for us. Straight back into it. Yes, the whole purpose of this deck is no sideboards, so you will literally see this screen quite a while our opponents use their complex and boring sideboards. But we are using the premise of the companion mechanic that it's broken because we pull it from a sideboard. I know it's not, it's just a troll. But I love inherently wish decks anyway. Back to the struggle. Ruckus. Ruckus opens us up with play. We keep a terrible hand, and we mulligan, keep 6. Expecting a Thoughtseize here, I throw away, I believe, a Growth Spiral. We've got enough slow lands here to keep going. Turn 1 Thoughtseize, it's true modern. Take away our Growth Spiral, they must have another discard spell, I think, so I just start dropping our Triomes. They play a Concealing Curtains and a Duress, they take out our Whitehead Thievery, and we flood worse than a house built by the river in the flood season. Turn 3 they go for a Thoughtseize, and inherently lose 2 life for nothing. We top deck like a pro and hit Widespread Thievery. And this is, wow, that is incredible. Put Flower, because it's the only non-land spell under there. They flip the Concealed Curtain and check our hand, see that we just got lands, start attacking us. Play an island, and we'll keep Tyrants going here, because we know that some kind of discard effect is going to come here. They go for the Thoughtseize. In response, we'll destroy their Revealing Eye and make a treasure, which is inherently bad in this scenario, because even our Flower Flourish isn't great. They drop an Elsbeth's Nightmare with the intention of just getting our hand. I'm checking that they can't hit creatures with that. So after grabbing one of our basics, I put Jegantha into hand. They reveal our lands. They can't hit Jegantha. They drop Liliana. And they force us to discard to get rid of the forest. Just checking our lands. And then I decide, no, we don't have green. We need to get rid of the red. Play Jegantha. Make a treasure. Play Eye Twitch, because now we have Edict fodder if that effect happens. I think I'm okay here because I thought this Lily was based on my graveyard, but it's actually based on their graveyard. They drop a Waste Knot, so now we just got to keep attacking here. We want the Eye Twitch to die. We're going to take damage from Lily. But yeah, we need to learn here. We get a Vanishing Verse, which is great for us. So we attack Eye Twitch directly. I would wait for Lily's response like you can do in Modern, but unfortunately we have to deal with... They feel the ruin our land, thinking they're trying to cut us off. They know that we don't know we run every basic. Last basic out of the deck. I get Solar Blaze, so I attack here and check this. I Solar Blaze with the intention of learning for Mascot Exhibition, because I have just enough mana with that last treasure to cast this. And I'm praying they don't top deck with Suika, but it gives us a way faster clock. And they pass. Whew, that was a rough one. Now match 2 with Igor. This is a slugfest, so we keep this hand with the intention of going into a Growth Spiral, into Nixilis. Maybe we can deploy a creature and get a casualty Nixilis down if we get lucky. I ultimately don't realize it's my turn and pause for a little too long there. We drop Woodland Cemetery and pass. Opponent shocks in a land here, so I go for a Growth Spiral. They do clearly have a response. Drop in the Fabled, get our final fixing. Well, not our final fixing. We'll get a blue because we have Flower Flourish in our hand. So I'm going to Ob Nixilis here, see if it eats a counterspell. It does not, so I start plussing him, thinking he might have a Stomp. I'm just playing off the fact that he's got red mana open and it could be a Stomp. We grab our white, so we have all 5 colours now for Niv. They drop Omer of the Sea, so this is the 5 colour Enigmatic Incarnation deck. We've played a variation of this with Niv Mizzet. They drop a Leyline Binding, get rid of our Nixilis for now. We have a Thoughtseize. They drop an Unbridled Growth, not Thoughtseize, we have Vanishing Verse. I decide to drop Niv because we should always Niv Mizzet whenever we can. I'm pretty sure we can drop the Edict here. The what's it called? The Trial of Ambition. But I have to play into it anyway. Fires of Invention comes down, drops a Trial, takes out Niv Mizzet. Fires cannot be allowed to stay on this field, so we Vanishing Verse Fires. We've got to force him to pay for mana like everyone else. We drop an Eye Twitch, and then we Casualty an Ob Nixilis here, so we can learn and get a copy of Ob Nixilis, which is probably one of the best plays this deck can make. For the learn, I choose Containment Breach because they have a ton of enchantments, and our ability to just take that out is going to be great. Now we just start plussing. They've got 2 cards in hand, they're on 12 life, and we'll see what they do. They chuck a Portable Hole, and then they hold on to that card, so that card must be something they want. They put Yorion into hand. This is quite awkward now because they have the ability to blink the Leyline, and that'll wreck us, and they have another Leyline in hand. So they grab the Ob Nixilis token that we didn't activate, which is my bad. I should have activated that one first, anticipating. So I decide, so I have to consider the next play carefully. If we Containment Breach, the Leylines are going to come back, so I take out Trial of Ambition to make a 1/1, and then I hold up Vanishing Verse here because they're going to blink their entire board if they can find the land. And the Leyline Binding will then give us back an Ob Nixilis, force us to Legend Rule it, then they can exile the one that we keep with the return Leylines. Fortunately though, they don't hit their land, they go for a Flux Channeler. And here I'm really hoping they bounce my Ob Nixilis, but they're trying to play their hand here. Fortunately, Arenas Auto Tapper screwed them over. I think they wanted to tap their Leyline Binding, to bounce their Leyline Binding. So I choose to shock them for 2 and make a treasure for us. We draw another land. Growth Spiral just to try and get value. We just start hitting lands, so I attack in here. I want to trade with the Aether Flux if they don't want to take the damage. Ob Nixilis plus again. They're down to 4. Choose to pass here, so they go for the Yorion Blink. They play Yorion, blink their entire board. We get Legend Ruled with Ob Nixilis. I would like to point out as well, this game is on ×2 speed. So in the end step we cycle Xander's Lounge, get a Solar Blaze. They go for a Exile effect here, so we float a white with the treasure, because we might as well. And we're going to Vanishing Verse the Leyline here that takes away Ob Nixilis. Yeah, this video is ×2 speed. This match was like 10 minutes long. Right, I choose to plus here, make him discard. And I'm going to hold on to Eye Twitch, put Jegantha into hand. I'm just hoping for, yep, there's a Tolsimir, which is a bit awkward for us because it's kind of perfect for them. And we get Confront the Pass back to bring back an Ob Nixilis when we can late game. Now, I choose to play a Klothys, and Solar Blaze. Take out Tulsamir and the Wolfrend. Then trying to work out if I could confront the past enough to survive, but it doesn't happen. Alright, Yorion hits us in the face. They play a Gaspel Mimic, copying Yorion to blink Leyline to take out a Clophis. We draw another Solar Blaze here, so I'm going to play Jegantha and pass the turn. I'm pretty sure, yep, they have another Trial of Ambition, but I had to play into it anyway. Because what I plan to do now, they play a Fable of the Mirror Breaker. So I choose Confront the Past, counting my mana here. Confront the Past for free to return Ob Nixilis. I then negative him to make a go. Then Solar Blaze, and then ping the final damage to kill Yorion. I'm trying to bait out removal here for Nixilis so I can resolve Edgar without having to worry about him being killed. They keep sacking their Unbridled Growth to keep drawing cards. Skyclave comes in and puts us on the back burner, which is going to be pretty problematic now because if they flip the Fable, they can start exiling our permanents. They start scrying with Omen of the Sea to try and score some additional cards. 2 to the bottom is good for us. Right, Reflections comes back. They have a trial. They don't know how this card works, so Edgar immediately dies. We get hit for 2. We make a lifelinker. We cycle in the end step, sorry, and we find another cycle land. Edgar makes this thing, so we start cycling. Cycle, get a land, cycle. I'm raging at this point. Find Widespread Thievery. I decided to deploy Widespread Thievery just to give Skyclave cloning a chance to get something else. We discovered that 3 of our Widespread Thieveries were literally next to each other in the deck because shuffling anything above 60 is tough. Apparently even Arena can't handle 60 shuffling. Opponent has a long consideration here. I think they're considering the value of reflectioning the Skyclave apparition. The problem with that is if they start doing that, at the end step we get value. So they come in for the combat here. I choose to take it down to 7. Make another treasure. We have a cramp session, but the Archon means that we can't do cast anything from underneath it. I choose again, it's going to be another Mascot Exhibition game. I choose Mascot's Exhibition just to give us some widespread stuff here. We've got Edgar flipping back next turn. We just got to hope it's enough. They're down to 6 now. They make a Pest to try and stay alive and go for combat here. They have another Trial of Ambition to make us sack one of our tokens. They go all in. I decide to trade with the Callous Blood Mage that exists permanently. So we stay on a 6. Edgar flips back over. We play our Mascot Exhibition. And I choose to attack with Edgar here. They gain life with the treasure here, but we have enough blockers to survive. They cycle for looking for treasure. They copy the Skyclave to exile Edgar. Now they only attack with Edgar, which makes me suspicious, but knowing that Skyclave is going to die, I choose to take it here because we get a 4/4 and we top deck a Tyrant Skull, which is very lucky for us. So we get to destroy the Archon of Emeria, and now we have enough damage to push through lethal. And again, no sideboarding, because sideboarding is not required when you can just pull the cards out of your deck. Your sideboard, sorry. And we get more looks here at Luca with Oko. Either sides of a drawbridge, which would be pretty dope. No, it's just a sad truth on this occasion. Yes, this match in total was 30 minutes long. So, game 2 though was an interesting exhibition here. I think this is fine. because I'm going to iTwitch learn for a environmental studies. However, make a terrible mistake here, because my opponent decides to Skyclave Apparition my 1/1. And I go for Cram Session here. I choose to pick up Pest Summoning to just get more creatures down. But they have the Dream Hand here. They go Fires into Moonblessed Cleric. They're going to grab the Enigmatic Incarnation. And then we're just going to... we're on the back foot. So I've decided to go to another game. I had a phone call where I had to take a message. Hence why you saw me pop up on my notepad. Alright. This hand is a little slower, but Omnixilus with Widespread would be pretty sweet. We get a Growth Spiral here, which is perfect for us, except we played the wrong land technically, so we can't Growth Spiral on turn 2. With this, we drop a Widespread Thievery. I'm expecting this to get Skyclaved, so I put the Cram Sessions under it. Fortunately though, our opponent, if I remember correctly, after consideration, plays a tap land here. Yes. They Leyline Binding a Widespread Thievery, which I'm okay with. And then I choose to pass here because I want to hold up Dovin's Veto for potential Fires of Invention. But they just grab Yorion, which is interesting. So in the end step, I go for the draw and make Treasure on us. I draw very awkwardly, and after some consideration decide I'm going to drop Omnixilus and the Growth Spiral. Now with all of these cards in hand, I'm trying to consider the best option here, because ultimately I have to leave up Veto for their big plays. So I go with Flower, because this is basically a free roll spell. We thin out our deck and get to play the land since we didn't draw a land. Then I choose to go for an Omnixilus, just straight up. However, I choose to down tick here, assuming that he's going to be Leyline Binding. It's just worth having a Devil on the field. Opponent sacks a card, sacks and draws. Which is really weird, because why would you tap it? Because sacking it doesn't tap the land. They cycle a land, they're clearly looking for something, put another Unbridled Growth on there. On our turn we play our Fables, crack it. Grab an island. Plus the Omnixilus, we start gaining life now. They keep every card in their hand, which is quite interesting, so I decided to drop Edgar and then pass. Opponent drops a Fable of the Mirror Breaker, that's fine to go here. Moonblessed Cleric finds a Leyline Binding. We grab an iTwitch and a Cram Session, so I go for Cram Sessions. I'm going to grab, I believe, the Containment Breach, and they know it's in my hand now, so they know I can resolve this. So I decide I'm going to Leyline Binding the Widespread Thievery to give them the impression that it's more important than it is. Again, expecting it to be Leyline Bindings, I choose to pick up iTwitch. I keep my mana open here because I've got 2 spells ready. Put Edgar in to see if they want the trade. They choose to take it, they're down to 11. They draw their hand and they go for looting. They drop a Leyline Binding. They take our Edgar. They both go in on Omnixilus here. Now ideally I would want to kill the Goblin, but ultimately to keep Omnixilus alive I choose to block and ping the Moonblessed Cleric. They go for the Enigmatic Incarnation. I immediately counter that because they can sack a Leyline Binding into an Agent of Treachery or a Titan of thing, and we get rewarded with top decking another Veto, so we drop the iTwitch, pass back. Saga flips over, they try the second Enigmatic Incarnation, we counter it, and they concede because I don't understand why.